here we are with Flamingos, and I just got to say again, thank you so much for coming. Let's just get down to business, shall we? Okay, Pink Flamingos is, of course, a film by Mr. John Walters, born 1946 in Baltimore. Sitting about an hour's drive from New York. He has never made a movie outside of Baltimore. He absolutely loves it. He's got homes in various other places, but Baltimore is where the heart is. He is now an American institution. He's a household name in the States and in Europe, less so over here. His irreverent, witty humour, his worldview, his books, his journalism, his one-man shows, he's great on chat shows. Yeah, he's a recognisable, well-known face. Just over 25 years ago, to say that John Walters was going to be an American institution would have been unthinkable. Okay, Hairspray in 1987. His first respectable or mainstream film was, of course, turned into a Broadway musical in 2002. It is the biggest Broadway musical of the decade so far. It's taken him to new levels of fame, actually. The original Hairspray in 1987 started to have some unfortunate repercussions on Walters into the 90s, way into the 90s. As a film he'd made about 40 years now, so whatever it was then. Started to get him in quite a lot of trouble again. People would go to video stores in the US, they'd pick up Pink Flamingos from the shelf, and they would see from the director of Hairspray or Crybaby, one of his labels, and they'd hire it. They then get about 25 to 40 minutes in and phone the police. It's usually busted, well, it's always busted. It's usually found guilty of obscenity as charged, which means that him and New Line have to pay a huge fine. And as John Walters always says, and he's absolutely right, time does not mellow Pink Flamingos. Some of his very nicknames are coming up on the screen above me now. These people were obviously unaware of his reputation. His early films had earned him. Now, the last one is his favourite, as it was given to him by William Burroughs. Pink Flamingos in 1972. Now, he's never tried to top Pink Flamingos in terms of gross incident. That has to be stated. These early films have made John Walters the cult filmmaker par excellence. He creates one of the most distinctive worlds in US cinema, and that's true of his later movies as well. To say that his early films are technically incompetent is an understatement. He can just about hold the camera in point. But listen to the dialogue. It's his dedication to busting taboos by making these strange people who are outsiders, insiders. In Walters' world, it is normality and suburbia that's to be feared, and that is the theme that follows right through his work. For making you laugh at what you really shouldn't laugh at, and he always says he sets out to make people laugh, not necessarily to shock them. Bollocks. And for having one of the most distinctive visual aesthetics, and for offering a skewed vision of American life and culture of the period, along a sheer disregard of morals and political correctness way before that coin was turned, alongside a knack for self-promotion and self-mythologizing to rival Madonnas, no other filmmaker comes close. Okay, the difficult thing about talking about John Walters is that there is nobody better to talk about John Walters than himself. His writing, Shot Value, which covers the early period of his work, his early obsessions, it's never gone out of print since being published. He has legions of fans, really, really dedicated fans who can quote his movies verbatim. And on the circuit, I've met some real crazy obsessives who've gone so far to have actually met him and then got it tattooed on their flesh. Right. To quote John Waters, if I invent the cure for cancer tomorrow, I will still be known as the man who made Divine in that film. It isn't this scene which closes the film that gets him in trouble, because it isn't illegal, it's not a sin, you're never going in the Bible, you're never ever going to see it again, why would you? Who's ever going to do it again? Yet this is the first thing that comes to mind when he mentions pink flamingos. Excuse me. You can take my forearm off now. Okay, yeah. That's all I need to say regarding the plot. Just as an aside, the man who performs an unusual party trick at the party with a part of his anatomy is very, very happy that both his parents died without ever knowing. In all documentaries about Waters, he is in deep shadow. He doesn't reveal his face. Both John Waters' parents never saw it. His father is now passed away, and Divine's parents never saw it either. Not all of these scenes are particularly good-natured. We were talking about it. We are showing Pink Flamingos completely uncut. We've agreed, yes, we're going to give a disclaimer. There's one scene called the chicken fuck. Woo! Now, it's not quite as literal as it might sound.
Yes.
No, really. It's just... it's not pleasant. So when Crackers takes Cookie the spy out to the shed to see the chickens, you might want to avert your eyes for 5 minutes, just don't phone the police. John Waters has said over the years there's one scene in it that offends even him now. There's another scene he wouldn't have put in it. This is easy enough to work out which scene, as it was the year of Deep Throat. And he says he would remove it if he could. It's obviously not available in the UK, but it is here tonight, unexpurgated. He would remove it if he could, but people say it would just be censored. As for the chicken fuck scene, he's never apologised for it, and as he says, I eat chicken, it doesn't land on my plate from a heart attack. We made that chicken's life better, it got fucked and it got to be in a movie. And right after we ate the chicken, which is true, there are deleted scenes where they did eat it. What he has apologised for, as there are a couple of jokes in it with total disregard for the victims, he has apologised for the endless jokes about the Manson murders, which informed his early career. Okay, here he is on the Flamingo set. Now, he's a suburban boy from the lower middle classes, inexplicably fascinated by the macabre. Waters found an outlet for his early obsessions in the movies. Now, the various movies that you were going to hell if you went to go and see Baby Doll, the nuns at school told him, I couldn't wait. Russ Mayer movies and Blood Feast coming up. He used to watch from his bedroom window with binoculars at the local drive-in. He did actually make it to film school in New York, and he hated it because all they did was talk about Battleship Potemkin and David Lean. You can't blame him, can you? He was eventually kicked out of film school on a marijuana bust. Back in Baltimore, he started to hang around with some, say, unusual people. A lot of them druggies, a lot of them dropouts, a lot of them from the criminal fringes of society. They became stars. His repertory company called the Dreamlanders. And the Dreamlanders made Warhol superstars look provincial in comparison. He made many short films that were shown all over Baltimore. They'd flyer everywhere, they were shown at churches. Multiple Maniacs, his first sound film, actually did play dates over the country. He sent it to Robert Shea, the president of New Line Cinema. Now, he saw Multiple Maniacs, got back to John Waters and said it's just too awful. But I'd be interested in what you see in the future. Shea got the print of Pink Flamingos, watched it, and in a documentary about midnight movies says he had to, and he's never done it before or since, go back into the projection box, rewind it, to just make sure that what he saw he did actually see. So he knew he had something, but they didn't quite know what. And it stayed on the shelf for about a year. Now, it opened in one gay porno house in Boston Now, you don't open pink flamingos in a gay porno house. I'm sure people have got over it